Y'all have been wanting this application tutorial for the longest, and bad bitches don't gatekeep, so here it is. The application link, everything that I use down below. These are some magnets that I got from Shein that I use to measure out the nails. Whenever my clients ask for a certain length, I already kind of have an idea of what it's gonna look like, but I always just ask them to make sure. So always ask your clients, because you never want to give them a length that they don't want. Also, just make sure to show them before you actually cut the nail tips, so you don't cut them too short because you can't go back. And if you can, I always recommend to get a dust collector because we don't want dusty lungs, the fuck. Now I'm gonna go in with my sanding band and I'm gonna blend the nail tips. I like to go vertically. Some people do it horizontally, but I like to do it vertically. I don't know, it just works better for me. Now for the hard part, which is the C curve, I like to start by pushing the drill into the middle of the nail and then working my way to the edges, making sure that I have a nice little curve going on. I have my drill at around 10,000 RPM, but you can go lower because I know this is a little hard to get used to at first. Really take your time with this because you want both ends to be even and you never want no crooked nail. That shit looks ugly as fuck. But yeah, it's pretty simple once you get used to it. I recommend just trying it for practice before you actually start doing it on clients because it is kind of hard to get used to it. And for the people in the back, start pushing your drill in the middle. Don't go to the side, don't go to the front, don't go to in the middle, okay? Please and thank you. And I'm holding my drill slightly at a 45-degree angle. I'm not going straight onto the nail tip because that's gonna cause a vibration and we don't want to hurt your client. Like, that's actually murder. I mean, not murder, but they might sue you. Then I go in with my 100-180 grit nail file. Don't use 80-80 for nail tips because you will cut your client. Only use it for acrylics, please. I had to learn that shit the hard way. Please just trust. I'm using the finer grit side to get the sidewalls, and then on the free edge I don't hold my file straight onto the nail. Again, I do a little angle so that you don't get rid of that curve. Again, I'm going sidewall. If you don't want to do C curve, that's fine by me. I'm showing y'all how I do my shape. I usually ask my clients if they want this shape or not, and if they don't, then we do regular. It's that simple. This shape is really hit or miss for some people, but me personally, girl, I like my nails sharp. Like, I like to use my nails as weapons. Like, if I want to scratch my man, I'm gonna scratch him. And as of right now, your shape should look something like this. Then we go in with dehydrator and primer. This is me going in with the Young Nails Protein Bond. I usually do no lift nails primer first, then I go in with a coat of the V Beauty Pure Super Bond, and then I go in with Young Nails. Everybody's prep routine is different. I really have to tailor mine to my own taste, but this is what works best for me. I always make sure to get the primer on the whole nail bed so that there's no lifting action coming from no angle. Now for application, of course, I'm using the V Beauty Pure Acrylic System with the monomer and the powder. For this set, I use the shade Lustrous Pink, but you can get money off of any purchase site-wide on vbeautypure.com using the link in my bio. So get with that because who doesn't love a discount? And before I start with my application, I like to lay down a piece of paper towel. So I dip my brush in the monomer to get rid of bubbles, and then I lightly tap on the powder at a 45-degree angle. I tap. I pick up my bead and I wait until it gets smooth, just like this. Then I flip my brush over and place that bead down right where the tip meets the nail and push in those sides and push it up against the cuticle but not touching it. Now the hard part is done. You just gotta relax and try and push that acrylic into where there's any gaps and fill them in. And the bead should be more manageable by now. It's not gonna be running too much. You gotta make sure that the room temperature is just right, not too hot, not too cold. If it is too hot in your room, put the monomer in the fridge before you use it. A good rule of thumb to know whether or not your room is too hot or too cold is if the acrylic dries too fast, it's probably too hot in your room and you should put your monomer in the fridge. And if your acrylic is too runny to the point where you can't even mold it, then it's too cold in your room and you should put some acetone in your monomer so that it's not so runny. Then I just swipe it down with my brush to make sure that the free edge is covered as much as possible. I don't really like my nails as thick. I just get my glove and I just cut off the excess acrylic. I wipe it down some more just to show the excess acrylic, if that makes any sense. I feel like you gotta do it a couple times so that all the extra acrylic just comes off. I just really don't like thick nails like that anymore, so I just use the back of my glove. This is why it's important to wear gloves, you guys. Like, you can't be doing this shit raw. That shit will give you an allergy, and I'm not even joking. To remove the excess acrylic, I don't use my thumb. I use the back of my finger. Some people like to use their thumb, but I just prefer prefer using the back of my finger because it gets in there better. And now I'm about to show y'all the 2 bead method, which is basically the same process. It just takes a little bit longer. This is definitely more beginner friendly. You're gonna start by placing the bead where the nail tip meets the natural nail and still pushing it up against the cuticle. You're gonna see me just taking the excess acrylic that's dripping down and placing it back on the nail. This is optional. Sometimes I don't like to waste acrylic. Sometimes I really don't care, but it's really up to you. But yeah, basically the same process. You just put 1 bead down for the length of the nail, and then you're gonna put another smaller bead down where the cuticle is not directly on it, maybe like a millimeter or 2 below it. But if it floods, you just gotta stay calm, wipe it, and just carry on. Because that's one thing about acrylic, you cannot let it stress you out. The acrylic doesn't control you, you control the acrylic. You gonna let some acrylic beat your ass, girl? Hell no, you gotta show that hoe who's boss, for real. And then when you got it all down, your acrylic should look something like this. It's obviously not gonna look perfect if this is your first time, but that is okay. It never looks perfect for anyone for their first time. But now onto my favorite part, which is the shaping. I'm gonna go in with my 80/80 grit nail file now, making sure we don't cut our client, bro, because you can get sued. And it's pretty much the same motions that we did before when we were doing the nail tips. You basically go sidewall to sidewall, and then you keep your file at an angle. But the only difference is that now we're gonna go over the top of the nail, keeping our file flat and flush with the nail and following it as it curves. And basically I do this just in case there's any bumps or any imperfections in the application to ensure that when you do your design, your lines don't look funky and wobbly. So we're done filing for now, and now you're gonna take out your e-drill with your sanding band, and I have mine at around 15,000 to 20,000 RPM, and we're just gonna quickly go over the filing. We don't have to necessarily go over what we already filed, just what we missed. And I just do this to ensure that the nail just comes out perfect, and then I go ahead and take off the thickness from the bottom of the nail. I am not changing the curve in any way, shape, or form. We're just making her skinny and snatched, okay? I like to do this because it just makes the nails sharper, and it makes the cuticle look more flush when you actually seal it. Not only that, but it also takes away some of that bulky apex. It's not gonna take away the apex, but it just makes it a little bit more cute. Now we're gonna use our 5-in-1 drill bit. This will be linked in my bio. It's the V Beauty Pure 5-in-1 drill bit, and we're just gonna seal the cuticle. This bit does not cut your client. It's pretty safe to use around the cuticle, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna follow along the cuticle, and it should do most of the work for you. This is really not that hard, and this just ensures that there's no lifting, and it makes the nails really cute looking. I don't know how to explain it, but it just makes them look so flush and so natural. This next part is optional, but I really recommend it. Take your 100/180 grit nail file and use the softer side, and just go again from the sidewalls and on the C curve just to sharpen it up, because the 80/80 tends to make the nails a little bit more rough. So this will just soften it up a little bit and make it more sharp, because one thing about me and my clients, we love sharp nails. Baby, trust me, I'm gonna make your nails into weapons. You don't even need no pepper spray at that point. So now the final step before the design is the buffing block. I got mine from Shein, or you could get them on Amazon. I recommend that you buy them in bulk, because you should not be using the same buffing block on more than one client. Then I just wipe the nails down with a lint-free wipe. I also get these from Shein. I put some rubbing alcohol on it just so that we can get rid of any dust and debris on the nails. Now you're all set to do your design. Since we're already here, I might as well just show you guys how I do my French tips. I start off by doing 2 vertical lines from each sidewall, then doing 1 horizontal line in the middle of these 2 lines. Then I connect both of the lines in the middle, curving where they meet with the horizontal line. It's really not much science behind it. Just make sure that you use your pinky as a stabilizer so that your lines come out nice and clean. It's definitely hard at first, but it gets easier once you go along. Then you're just gonna fill it in, and to make sure that your shape is crisp at all times, you're gonna wipe off any excess polish from the sidewalls and from the free edge. And you should probably wear gloves during this, but I'm stupid. Last but not least, you're gonna take your 100/180 grit file once again, and you're just gonna file one last time on the free edge and the sidewalls, making sure that you're not taking off polish. But this is after top coat, and this will just ensure that your shape is crispy like some chicken, period. And that's basically